I'm Fred Siriex, and I'm French.
Hi!
Bonjour!
I used to work front of house in a hospitality industry.
Cheers.
Cheers.
But now I'm front of camera, bringing people together.
I'm going to race you.
I love living life to the full and embracing new cultures, food and people.
It's very good.
One of my greatest passions is cycling.
Woo!
So I'm bringing my bike across the Irish Sea to a land I know little about.
Ireland, here I come! Here I come!
I'm setting out on a series of cycle challenges along the coast of Northern Ireland, starting in the Moor Mountains and on to Donegal. Some tough,
But I tell you what, it's steep.
some more gentle, but all spectacular.
This is so beautiful.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
It's not just about cycling.
This is very eventful here.
There's going to be other sorts of challenges along the way.
Yes. Hey!
You've all heard of the Tour de France.
This is insane, insane.
This is Tour de Fred. This time, I say bonjour to Belfast in Northern Ireland.
Did you see how much bacon he put on this map?
One of my bike stops as I navigate the city is to the tallest bar on the island of Ireland for a bird's eye view.
Sunshine.
I attempt to floor an Irish champion in a boxing ring. Don't hold your breath.
Push him back, Fred. Push him back.
And find my groove with a drum and a fiddle.
I feel like I won a medal.
A bike ride around a city like Belfast is the way forward. I spent decades commuting to work in London by bike, so this city cycle is something I relish. It's a much more green way to travel, and the vantage point I have from my saddle gives such a unique perspective. There are plenty of cycle lanes, off-road paths and greenways in this city, surrounded by the scenic Belfast Hills.
My cycle challenge in Belfast today is not a physical one. I'm just going to be a tourist. I just want to discover the city and cycle through the streets of Belfast.
But first, I'm making my way through the busy streets to St. George's Market in the heart of Belfast City to fuel up. Built between 1890 and 1896, it's the last covered Victorian market here and one of the very few left on the island of Ireland.
Hi. Yeah, hola.
There are around 200 market stalls selling anything a hungry cyclist could want and more.
Wow, I'm in my element. Look at this market. Look at the display here. This fishmonger is just incredible. My favorite fish, mackerel. Beautiful. Look at the size of these on the barbie. This is the most beautiful, the most delicious fish. I like your beard.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're the king.
We French like to talk, but the Belfast folk will happily talk about anything.
I've got to ask you, we giant meringues. We giants.
We giants, it's just a wee saying I have for them. They're not big enough to be big giants, so they're wee giants.
Ah, they're wee giants.
They're wee giants.
You make them yourself?
I make them all, yes.
Have you been here for long in the St. George's
19 years.
19 years?
19 years. And a wee box.
Yes. Oh, a wee box.
Everything's wee in Belfast. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One thing I've noticed since coming to Northern Ireland is that the people in this part of the world love their bread, so I've got to get with the party.
Can I get some Irish wheaten bread to take away, please? Thank you very much. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, thanks. Nice to meet you.
And it's not just Irish fare that's on offer.
I'm really quite puzzled with your shop here because you're selling Tartans, yeah, but we're not in Scotland, are we?
We're not in Scotland, we're in Northern Ireland. So a lot of the tartans you see here are the Northern Irish tartans. So every county in Ireland has its own tartan. So it's not just a Scottish thing.
Is it still big
Yeah.
now in Ireland? So
Yeah, very
who
much
are
so.
your customers?
I guess people that just love tartan. It's so colourful. Who doesn't love a bit of colour?
So somebody who's from here, for example, from
Yeah.
Belfast, you know, which one are they going to wear?
They would maybe wear this one. So this is County Antrim. So most of Belfast is in County Antrim, but they could also wear County Down. So that's the County Down colours. There is also an Irish national tartan, which is like a general sort of catch-all.
For the island of Ireland?
For the whole island.
Okay, very good.
There's certainly plenty on offer here, and my eyes are peeled for one stall in particular.
That looks delicious. Can I have one of them, please?
Of course you can, Fred.
Is it for one person?
One person.
Are you having a laugh?
That's a small one, Fred.
So tell me, what's the Belfast Bab?
Okay, so the Belfast Bab is the bread we're using at the moment. Really can only be bought in Belfast. It goes back to the 1800s, created by a baker called Bernard Hughes. And it really was to feed starving people during the famine. That was it, really, you know. It's synonymous with Belfast. Nowhere else does it, and you can't buy it in Dublin, you can't buy it in London, it's just Belfast.
And the traditional way is to grill it here with the sausages and the bacon and the eggs?
Initially, it was very basic. Sliced bread, butter, eggs, that's it, really. Because obviously there was no bacon, no sausage. And then through the years it's progressed. We now fill it with bacon, sausage, egg, hash browns, black pudding, white pudding.
And when did you start making those?
18 years ago. And we're now probably a bit of an institution in Belfast now.
You clearly are. This is incredible. You're just keeping the tradition alive.
Just keeping the tradition.
I mean, I've had a bacon sandwich before, but this is just another level, isn't it?
This sorts the men out from the boys, really.
This is the Empire State Building of bacon sandwich.
This is, we're going higher in this one again.
Are you still stacking it up?
Still stacking, Freds, keep going.
Did you see how much bacon he put on this bab? Look at that. I mean, look at it.
And so we have it, Fred, the
Thank you.
Belfast Bab.
Wow. They say size doesn't matter, but let me tell you this, in Belfast, it does.
Fueled by my Belfast Bab, I'm cycling to my next stop in the city. Belfast is Northern Ireland's largest city. Its name is derived from the Irish Belfersta, which roughly translates as the sandy ford at the mouth of the Farset. A river now hidden below these streets I'm cycling on now. Belfast emerged during the Industrial Revolution as the biggest trader on the island of Ireland, famous for linen production, rope making and shipbuilding. This city of industry is also one of music, history, culture and sport, and there is one sport that I'm particularly interested in. Pedaling my way around Belfast taps into one of my favorite activities. I've cycled to the west of the city to the St. John Bosco Boxing Club, where I'm about to put my keen sparring skills to the test in the ring. I've heard about how the club plays a vital role in the community here, and the McCafferty family has been linked to the club for 7 decades, with dad Sean, sons Barry and Gerard, and Gerard's wife Christina. I regularly spar back home, so the chance to box in an iconic Belfast boxing ring is an opportunity I can't let slide.
You guys are very big with boxing.
Yeah.
How come?
Boxing's it's a working man's sport. You know, for many, many years, there wasn't many other things to do in Ireland. Especially, you know, through our history of troubles and stuff. You know, boxing clubs opened up all over Ireland, and we were good at it, and we've had several world champions, so...
But what's in the water? How do you keep churning all these champions?
Probably what it is, you know, it was tough living in Ireland. There was a lot of unemployment, there wasn't a lot to go about. These were men that were fighting for their supper. So they had to go and fight to feed their families and to survive.
But what about now? What about today?
Well, about now, our generation, you know, has moved on a hell of a lot from way back then in the late 1900s and stuff. But then we have role models, you know, the like of Barry McGuigans and Wayne McCullochs, the Katie Taylors. We're confident now that because these people have came before us, you know, we know now that we can do it on the world stage. And, you know, that wee bit of confidence now goes a long way.
One woman who's leading that current generation of boxers is Christina, who became a professional boxer in 2021.
How long have you been coming to this gym?
I have been in the Bosco 10, 11 years, something like that, but I've been boxing from 10 years old.
And how did you get started?
I think where I was living at the time, there was like a local youth centre, and inside the centre was the boxing club, Emerald. And we were always told, you know, never go in that door. We weren't allowed near because it was obviously for the boxers.
Right.
But me and my friends, being the messers that we were, opened the door and went in, and I fell in love with the sport the first day.
So did you go because you were a bit of a rebel, or did you go also because you loved the idea of boxing?
I had
what was it?
Absolutely no idea about boxing. My father's a huge boxing fan. I knew as soon as I went in that gym that that's what I wanted to do. So that was it. I said yeah, and I never missed a day since. But yeah, it was difficult to be a female in boxing at that age. You know, any gym you went into, there was never another female in it.
So what's your next fight then?
My next fight will be for the European title.
European title?
Yeah. First Irish woman ever to fight for it.
Wow.
The gym's elder statesman is Christina's father-in-law, Sean McCafferty. Sean represented Ireland in boxing at the Olympic Games way back in 1964 in Tokyo.
What was it like for you to be selected to represent Ireland in the Olympics?
Well, I was only 19 at the time. And
what did you feel?
you just felt like you were just going in to do a day's work. That's what you were going to do, but nobody told you how important it was.
Was it exciting to go to Tokyo, to go to Japan, to go all this way to do a tournament?
It was great. As I say, the boxing helped me to get down to see a lot of the board I would never have seen without the boxing itself.
And here you are, you're still here, you're still coming to the club, working with your sons, you know, and teaching the new kids who are coming through. It's brilliant.
Well, you have to keep it going. And lucky enough, my sons are keeping it going.
You're keeping that tradition alive.
You have to keep the name going.
I've been watching closely, and as a keen sparrer, I'm keen to get a piece of the action. Let's go!
I really wanted to come here at St. Bosco Boxing Club because I love boxing. You know, I've been boxing for a number of years, and I've half expected them to invite me for a spar, so I brought my gum shield.
You ever been knocked out, Fred?
No. No?
No, that's good, that's good. Are you well insured, are you?
Yeah. To the hilt.
So Fred's come into the gym today, and he doesn't know what he's let himself in for. That's a shot. So Barry's been in training here. This is my brother. He's an ex-Irish champion. He's going to take Fred round, but with money on Barry to fill him in here in the first round. So keep your eyes open here and see what happens.
I've got to go and warm up, all right? See you in a bit.
I've cycled to St. John Bosco Boxing Club in West Belfast to find out more about the role played by boxing in the local community. And being a keen sparrer myself, after watching the champs closely, I think I'm ready to get in the ring.
We should have got a bigger guy. Yeah? Because I think it should be small for me. What have I done? What have I done?
You know the crack, Fred?
Yeah.
Okay. Boxing, keep your hands up, listen to me at all times. If I tell you to break, you break. Barry, same for you, okay? No hitting below the belt, okay? And we're gonna work off the whistle instead of the bell, okay? Back to your corners, lads, okay? When the whistle goes, come out boxing, okay?
He's no match for a fast-moving middleweight Frenchman.
Away we go.
I'm in pretty good shape, but maybe taking on a champion 20 years younger and 20 kilos heavier, maybe it was not my best decision.
That's it, punch him back, Fred, punch him back. That's it.
Breathe, Fred, breathe.
Body and head, Fred, body and head. Push him back. That's it, work, Fred.
Take that sucker.
Come on, 30 seconds to go, Fred.
This is definitely not a draw. I've lost.
Well done, Fred. That was brilliant. Well done. Fair play to you.
Yeah, I'm pleased because I was outgunned.
Yeah.
I was outgunned.
Yeah, well, he's an Irish champion, Fred. He's an Ulster senior champion and an Irish champion, so you weren't in any Mickey Mouse man there. You're a good boxer there.
And he fought the French lover.
That's it, he fought the French lover. Any kids that come into our club, we give them a medal if they're training of the night. So today, you're our trainer of the night, Fred, so congratulations. There's your gold medal there.
All right.
Well done, Fred.
That was good. Thank you, man. What a great afternoon I had. It was fantastic to be in this boxing club. Can you imagine? It was opened in 1941. Not only that, I fought the ex-Irish champion. Now, I know I got whooped, but as they say, the important is to take part, isn't it?
Bye-bye, Fred.
Hey, see ya. See ya. When you're talking about the wolf, there he comes.
My next trip by bike is to the docks, an incredibly important part of the city's industrial history and legacy. Wherever you cycle in Belfast, there are signs of the city's industrial history. Whether that's the factories and old linen mills, now converted into centers for small businesses, or the cranes and slipways that once launched some of the biggest ships in the world. Like many of the great shipbuilding cities, the industry is in decline, but at the site where they built the Titanic, there is now a lasting tribute. Located in this remarkable and award-winning building is Titanic Belfast. The exhibition tells the story of the iconic ship, from its birth here in Belfast to its tragic sinking in the Atlantic over 100 years ago. I'm meeting Joe, one of the visitor experience crew.
Well, Fred, these are the slipways. This is the very spot we're walking on where Titanic and our sister ship Olympic were built side by side under a massive gantry. These poles represent where the gantry legs were. This was literally a spider's web of steel with Titanic to our right and Olympic exactly where we are now being built side by side.
Both at the same time?
Yeah, well, Olympic was launched in 1911, Titanic in 1912, a year later. So they were built alongside each other. 3,000 men worked in this very area that we were on both those ships.
You know, I was talking to somebody on my way here, and he said that his mum and dad were working in the shipyard, and at the time there were 30,000 people working in the shipyards in Belfast.
That's right, at its height, 30,000. We're building ships here from the early 17th century.
How did it start? Why here?
Well, obviously the River Lagan out to the Irish Sea. Trade in Belfast was starting in the 18th century. Wooden ships coming up there, up Belfast Lock. Right into the city centre then, and then gradually things improved. You know, we dredged it, we were able to bring the bigger, the heavier ships in there.
And who were they building these ships for? Were they for the British? Were they for other nations?
Primarily for trade in those days. Belfast was a booming city. We were, you know, massive, biggest linen producers in the world, whiskey, tobacco, rope works. So we needed to transfer that around the world, and that's what shipbuilding was built on, really. Belfast, at the time that Titanic was built in the early 20th century, late 19th century, Belfast was the epicentre of shipbuilding in the world.
Really?
This was the biggest shipyard in the world.
The fateful timeline of the Titanic is retold across several floors of interactive galleries. The people who built this world-famous ship and the passengers aboard are at the very heart of that story.
What's the idea behind this design? I mean, it looks like a ship.
Yeah, this is the exact size of the bow of Titanic, the 4 bows around the building. The aluminium sheets, there's 3,000 of those, which represents the 3,000 men that worked on Olympic and Titanic. That's very grand.
And it was only men working on the shipyard?
The women worked in the offices, and they did a very important job as well. They were called tracers, because when those plans were drawn, they needed to be copied onto starched white linen. And the women were a lot more accurate, obviously, than the men. They would have drawn those to precision, and then they would have been kept for contingency purposes.
So you must be incredibly proud to be part of this city, but also to be working here on the very site where the Titanic was made.
Exactly. This is the last footprint of Titanic in dry land. I'm very proud to be telling the story for our visitors from all around the world.
More than 1,500 people died when the Titanic sank in April 1912, and their names here are a stark reminder of all that was lost.
What an interesting exhibition, very immersive. The best thing about it is all the people who work here. They love what they do. They're so proud of the history of the city and the shipyards. See you later.
Allez, it's time for my next challenge. I can't wait.
I'm on a mission. I want to reach a view. I'm going to the tallest bar in Ireland.
I have an appointment there at 4 o'clock and I can't be late. My Belfast Cycle Challenge is unlike any of my challenges so far, as I head into a busy city along the River Lagan. The River Lagan divides Belfast between counties Down and Antrim. The Lagan Weir pedestrian and cycle bridge connects Donegal Quay with Queen's Quay. Navigating my bike through a busy city like Belfast is challenging, but I love my bike, and it's my favorite way to travel in amongst the hustle and bustle. The tallest bar in Ireland is in sight.
How are you? Can I park my convertible here?
Okay, welcome to the Grand Centre, sir.
Thank you very much.
I'm confident I'll make it in time for my so important appointment at 4 p.m. But first, it's all the way to the top for the best views of the city, which will help me link my stop-off so far from the west of the city to the docks. I love the French music. What about you? I've made it for my 4 p.m. appointment with a cocktail. And to check out that 360-degree view of Belfast. And what a place to take a break, with a cocktail being prepared and a view. Here it comes, here it comes.
Thank you. Challenge completed. It's luncher. Time to chill now.
I've been traveling around Belfast on my bike and recently learned more about the city's shipbuilding legacy and industrial past. Conway Mill is one of the many industrial buildings in Belfast that have been repurposed into office and workshop space for small, often creative businesses. There is a thriving creative community in Belfast where young artists are encouraged, and I'm meeting one of them. Ruth Sturdy has a ceramic studio here and runs pottery classes. She's agreed to help a Frenchman take a creative breather from his city cycle.
We're going to be making some pottery today. Okay. We're going to be making a lovely embellished vase.
Can I see?
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. It looks like a traditional pot almost, doesn't it?
Yeah, like an ancient artifact.
It's like making potato bread.
Yeah, this is quite similar to potato bread. Wouldn't taste as good, I don't think.
No.
The design on this pot is achieved by pressing in the pattern of a doily. But Ruth assures me anything with texture will achieve the same result.
So you're just gonna pick that out to reveal your lovely pattern.
Wow, very good. This technique, is this an ancestral technique?
It would be something that has been in pottery for years and years. So it was all hand building, all things that you did, you know, at a table with some makeshift tools. Yeah. So this
Moment of truth.
Yeah, so just be careful when you're holding it. Brilliant. Now, this doesn't need to be perfect because you are going to straighten it up. Good work.
Thank you very much. I love your encouragement. Makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. And what are you working on at the moment?
I'm working on a lot of cake stands.
Well, you're very big with cakes in Ireland. Everywhere I go, there's cake.
Yeah, good.
Do you like a wee slice of cake, Fred?
Oh, it's always way too, isn't it? It's because we drink so much tea, we need something to have alongside. Yeah.
I've had so much cake here. Yeah, I'm very happy with it, actually.
Yeah, as you should be. It looks very good.
There we go.
I have to say, I'm really proud of my creation. But Ruth has another challenge in store.
Have you been on a pottery wheel before?
Never.
No, okay.
Is it going to be like in the movie?
It's
Is it going to be like this?
Yes, it's going to be exactly like that.
Brilliant.
I'm Demi Moore. You're just going to give one hard whack in the middle.
Just like that.
Just like that. So you're going to use your left hand and push away from your belly button towards that wall. And then with your right hand, you're going to put it on the top. Lovely.
So what am I trying to do here? What's the idea?
At the beginning, yeah, there's 3 main stages. So at the beginning, we'll be centering the clay, and that just makes sure that all of the clay is in the middle of the wheel before we start to manipulate the walls or create the depth in any way. And then again, with your left hand, just pushing that.
Oh, I see what I'm doing now.
Yes.
As soon as I push down, I just push down and I can see the texture at the top is much better than it was. Ooh.
Lovely. That looks a lot better.
It looks centered. It looks centered. I can't believe it.
The next thing you're going to do is use your middle finger on your right hand, and you're just going to push softly into the clay to create that hole.
All right. Okay.
Okay, that looks really good.
Does it?
Yes. You could drink out of that, I feel.
Yeah, it's like a chalice.
Yeah, and like a wine chalice, yeah.
Yes. This is very enjoyable, Ruth.
I'm really glad.
I'm really enjoying it. This is such fun. Am I done here?
I think you are. Normally it takes people a long time to get to that stage.
Right, I'm stopping.
Okay. Woohoo!
Wow, very, very good.
And we try to get it off without causing much. Yeah, that's lovely. And then you're just going to slide it from the base. Just push it towards yourself.
Oh, this is delicate. Voila.
Look at that.
Le chalice.
Look at that. Le chalice.
And here is my chalice. I really enjoyed doing this. It's really relaxing, really therapeutic. And I have to say, Ruth was a very good teacher. She made me feel really good about what I was doing.
It strikes me, as I cycle around Belfast, that this is a city which has had to work incredibly hard to set itself up as a destination for visitors and tourists. The troubles may have been a generation ago, but the tradition of painting murals remains. The sinister slogans of the 70s and 80s have been replaced by more upbeat pieces of art that have proved a magnet for tourists around the world. One man who has seen a lot of changes in his 40 years in the hospitality business is James McGinn. For most of that time, he has worked at the Europa Hotel, the only large hotel that continued to operate in the city during the dark days. And that's where I'm going now.
This place is a real institution for Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah, I think probably on the island of Ireland, it's one of the more iconic hotels. Certainly in Northern Ireland, it is the most iconic hotel, most notably because of our turbulent and troubled past. The Europa was built in the early 70s when no one else would have dared to think of building an international hotel within the city. And I think it sort of gave people maybe confidence, hope, and assurance that things and the future for Belfast was very possible. That's why it actually has become so significant. It's fallen and risen more times than many.
But what was it like to run this hotel during the Troubles? Because this was the most bombed hotel, wasn't it? In Europe, I think.
Yes, it was. It had been bombed 32 times. Prior to the peace process, all the journalists lived here, covered everything that was going on within the city.
So people were still coming to stay here, even though it was bombed time after time after time, and staff kept working. You know, when you think about, you know, resilience, you know, as a quality, you know, when you run hotels. I mean, this is crazy.
I think the only time it actually closed was in 1993, which was the very last bomb that exploded between us and the Opera House, and it ripped through the heart, the ground floor, and subsequently the upper house. Every other time, they boarded up the windows, we had security outside, but we actually continued to function and operate as a hotel.
So the more it was bombed and the harder you were working and the more you wanted to come to work.
Yeah.
What does the country have to do, you know, to get to the level of, let's say, for example, a city like London, for example, which has been full of tourists for years and years and years, you know. So how do you claw back from those years?
In order to clearly establish ourselves in that international arena, we had to have more than just the Europa. We had to have the other hotels to make the people come. We are now a society that is open for business. We don't want to overspoil what we have, because we're authentic, we're Irish, we're real. It's all about the experience, and the experience that we can deliver really well, because we're Irish. It comes natural, and we're happy to serve.
Well, I certainly felt it, because everywhere I went, the welcome was off the chart, really incredible, and it was warm, and it was heartfelt, and people really meant it. Everywhere I went, truly genuine, and that's why I liked it.
The chat with James about the city's troubled past has made me want to see more of the murals that have remained an important part of the city's makeup. So I'm cycling to the Falls Road in West Belfast. People from all over the world flock to this part of the city to learn about the Troubles.
Hi.
Well, this is the International Wall. People began to paint on this wall from approximately about the late 1980s onwards. And it depicts international issues and international struggles as well.
So who are the people who are actually painting on these walls? Do they have any kind of affiliation? Do they have any kind of beliefs?
You would have a various amount of artists who would have mostly came from a political background, and they would have began to paint on the walls during the recent conflict here to highlight various issues that happened throughout the north here. This wall gradually turned into an international wall because they started to paint images to do with international struggle.
And what's that, Ricky, behind you? Is this the gate?
Yes, this is part of the peace line here that runs from approximately the city centre right through West Belfast. It covers an area of approximately about 2.5 miles, and it separates your pro-Irish nationalist Catholic community from your pro-British Unionist Protestant community.
But the gate here, it stays open all the time, or does it shut?
During the conflict, it would have been closed most of the time. There would have been British Army checkpoints here. After the peace agreement, and when peace started to kick in here, over time, certainly over the last 20 years, they began to open the gates later and later throughout the day. It's more of a psychological thing, because you can still get into that area through the city centre. I imagine they would eventually stay open completely.
And we can go on the other side?
Yep.
So this is just Belfast, you're just going on another side of Belfast?
A lot of people, would travel back and forward here.
So can we go there?
Yes, yes, no problem.
And are there any murals on the other side?
Yes, it continues. It goes from Irish murals to pro-British murals.
Oh, right.
On the other side.
These walls are reminders of a history of violence and separation in Northern Ireland. But there is also something powerful in the way the walls tell a story.
We came from a lot of Irish murals,
yes,
right through into British murals here, as you can see. Both communities are working class communities, There's no difference in terms of people's normal day-to-day lives, but there's obviously a stark difference in their ideology. You have a pro-Irish community on that side, you have a pro-British community on this side, and they want completely different. They have opposing views on what way they want to see this land change, basically.
Right.
But obviously they coexist. We're in a more peaceful environment now, and that can only be a positive thing.
As night falls, we reach the most visited stretch of the Peace Wall.
Obviously, there is always talk about trying to take these walls down, but this particular part of the wall has become more of a tourist attraction. All during the summer, right up to the end of September, this is thronging with tourists. Coaches pull up, loads of tourists. They sign the wall. I've had tourists from different parts of the world, especially Germany as well. And obviously, you had the Berlin Wall.
Yes.
Most of the Berlin Wall was taken down, but some parts of it was actually left there as a monument to the past. So they're able to tell a story, and they want to promote a better future, and that's a similar thing here.
So it's a way to remind people, let's not go back there, let's look forward to the future, let's look forward to peace. And I mean, it's a very powerful symbol, I have to say. It really kind of leaves me really speechless. I really feel the emotions, you know, and because you think about what happened, and now here you are, you know, here in the very place where people were fighting, and now these walls are promoting peace.
Yep.
But they were there, they were built to keep people apart.
Yep.
And now they're just a symbol of peace. Can you hold the bike for me, please? There you are, peace and love.
Happy days, that's a wall saying then.
Thank you, Ricky.
As I've been cycling around Belfast, I've been really impressed with the food scene. The demand for high-quality food and drink in Northern Ireland has led to the growth here of small specialist producers. We French think we know a few things about food, and we certainly know a lot about cheese. I love a bit of cheese, so I'm intrigued about this place.
Mike, it's so exciting for me to be here. I feel like a kid in a sweet shop. What an incredible shop you've set up here.
We make a bit of cheese, but we're lucky to be able to have a shop that is exclusively Irish cheese.
Just Irish cheeses?
Just Irish cheese, yeah.
I had no idea you guys produce so many cheeses.
Yeah, well, again, it rains all the time, so lots of grass, so, you know. Also, like they always sort of say, that we're the first people to domesticate animals. There's the kiddie fields where you would have, we're the first people to kind of milk cows, and so it's in our blood, but kind of farmhouse cheese in Ireland came back in the late 70s down in Cork, slowly filtered its way up, but now you're starting to get a few people up in the north making a bit of cheese too. Whenever we were starting, there was lots of breweries starting in Belfast at the same time, so we kind of aimed our cheese and what we do more at that kind of like young beer drinkers, people who are kind of interested in food, try to get away from that kind of stuffy, you know, you've got to have this wine with this cheese. We kind of run like beer and cheese nights around the corner.
You're making cheese cool.
Yeah, well, it's just like, it's a very Moorish thing, and it goes with so many drinks other than wine.
So is it like an artisan sort of renaissance that's happening in the city?
Yeah, for sure. You've got so many great restaurants, cafes who want to use local food, but not a huge amount of producers. So, you know, there's kind of, that's kind of why we opened the shop, because we wanted more northern, you know, people closer to us making cheese, and that was kind of like why we decided to do just Irish cheese, with the idea of hopefully get a few people a bit closer to us.
Very impressive, very impressive. Well done. Yeah. So tell me, I want to take some cheese back to mom and dad.
Okay.
Can you recommend a handful of them that I could take back to mom and dad? So tell them, you know, these are the cheeses that I brought back from Ireland.
Yeah, 100%. So again, like, you know, we've got, the thing that we say about 1 million times in the shop is a hard, a soft, and a blue. So whenever people are asking for a cheese board,
soft and blue.
Hard, soft, and blue is like, that's your kind of your starting point. Well, we'll start off with something you might be a bit familiar with. So this is it's a Comté style. It's made down in Cork. It's called Temple Gall. Again, lots of European influence in Irish cheese. This is a French man, fell in love with an Irish woman whenever he was playing a bit of rugby in Cork, and then never left. And then he went to work for a cheesemaker, and yeah, he had sort of worked in those kind of, made Comté in France.
Really, really good.
So then we've got the Centola here. So this is just, again, real super fresh Irish goat cheese down in County Clare.
Oh.
Just pure moussey, light, nice little rind on it.
Oh, this cheese is like a kiss. So the blue, I'm really excited about. That looks really super creamy.
The blue is our young buck, so it's based on like a Stilton style. There's like an old cheese book we've got in the corner where the recipe came from. And yeah, the blue is there to be the kind of, to break the cheese down. The blue in the blue cheese is like the whites on the outside of your bries and camemberts. It's like breaking the cheese down and giving that kind of real creaminess and stuff like that now.
It's beautiful. Well, thank you very much, Mike. That was really interesting. I really enjoyed it.
Perfect, yeah, cheers.
Cheers. Do you mind if I have a little bit more goat cheese before I go?
Of course.
Just, yes.
The crew have paid for it.
Thank you very much. Take
Cheers,
care.
all the best, thank you.
I can't believe Belfast is taking on the French with their cheese. But I tell you what, I am so impressed. I've enjoyed seeing Belfast by bike, and tonight, before leaving, I'm off to the pub for a taste of something really traditional.
Wow. I have to say my favorite is a boron.
Thank you.
I love the sound that comes out of this instrument.
It's the heartbeat of the Irish music.
And there's so many different sounds depending on where you hit your stick.
Well, it depends on where you hit your stick, but also where you put your hand on the back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you run it from the top to the bottom and you hit above it, it gives you different tones. A lot of borons are made from different skin. Normally they would be made from goat skin.
And
Would you like to try it?
Yeah, I'd love to try it.
Well, I have one here. And this is made from deer skin, so it's quite
Oh,
easy.
you've got all the sticks here.
Well, you can take your pick. There's a kind of secret if you hold it like a pen.
I've got a very bad handwriting, just to let you know.
Oh, that's okay.
Disclaimer.
Okay. Well, if you bring it round and kind of swap it that way,
Right,
well, you've got it now. And keep your wrist very straight.
right.
And as if you're opening an old-style door. That's kind of the wrist movement. So your first beat's always a downbeat. And then upbeat. Yeah.
But the tunes that you play, are they kind of ancestral tunes, you know, like old tunes? Or are you just jamming and you just, okay, let me just play, and you start playing and something that goes through your head?
We all learn a tune that is a structure, a set structure, and some of them are very old, some of them are old, and some are new. People are composing new tunes today that enter the tradition. And the good tunes stay and remain in the tradition, and the bad ones disappear over time.
Right. And do you know where the tunes come from? What the story behind the tunes, you know, are there stories behind the tunes?
Yeah. For many of them, yeah. For most of them, yeah.
And their names can sometimes get, there's mad names in traditional music.
The two tunes we play are The Boys of Ballisadair. Ballisadair is a place in Sligo. And the second tune is The Sailor on the Rock. So you learn the name with the tune, and it's a way of remembering how to start the tune.
Do you feel like you are custodians of that tradition of Irish music?
To a certain extent, and when I was younger I would have felt that more, but now I think it's more like kind of a fire that you have to keep lit, but at the same time you have to add to it yourself.
Yeah. Right.
So, you know, and that gives you the freedom to kind of mess around with it, but at the same time to stay kind of loyal to what it was, and just to remember those people who kept it alive.
So do 4 beats, and that's a reel. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
Yay!
Woo! Come on! Start doing your woo now! Come on, you guys. You need to just give me a little bit of encouragement here.
But if they play a reel, it's going to be faster, so you have to speed it up.
All right.
Yeah. Try and speed it up a wee bit.
may look easy, but I can assure you it's hard keeping it going with these great musicians.
I feel like I won a medal. It's definitely not gold, but I'll take bronze.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That was really well done.
And with a new tune added to my repertoire, it's time to say au revoir to Belfast. Thank you, I've loved it.
Belfast for me, it's pride, it's strength, it's beauty, it's tradition, but it's also about hope. It's about learning from your mistakes and moving forward. Oh, did I mention good crack?